Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast, Benjamin Dixon Show. I don't even know what to say anymore, guys. But I do need a little more time. That's all I'm going to say. But thank you. I've been looking at the metrics, and you guys are still consuming the content, which means a whole lot to me. You're taking it in podcast format. We have quite a few listens. I mean, our listening rate is amazing. So thanks so much for your patience and listening in. I tried doing a little video from home tonight, but it just wasn't what I wanted to put out. So I stopped it midstream, and I'm just going to go with this audio until I correct one or two more things. I'm kind of persnickety, about what I put out, particularly if it's something that I'm going to consider to be professional. Then I tried just doing it in my regular lighting in my kitchen, and didn't like the audio. So just a couple of barriers that I'm trying to get over, and I might be able to get over them by tomorrow. So I'll keep you posted on that. But again, if you want to see like my professional content, and I just call it professional in the sense that it's well produced, you can go to content.news, and check it out over there. Listen, I want to dig into this Peter Daou, Hillary Clinton, Veritt.com issue. If you don't know Veritt.com, you should, because the Secretary of State of the United States, former Secretary of State of the United States, Hillary Clinton, endorsed them on last night, or 2 days ago. And she gave them a glowing endorsement on Twitter, saying that she signed up and you should too. Yep. So I went to go check out Veritt.com reluctantly, and it is a site created by Peter Daou. If you don't know who Peter Daou is, you may be late to the party, and so I'm not, I'll be glad to explain who he is. He is an apparatchik. He is an operative for Hillary Clinton. He is a Hillary Clinton loyalist to the umpteenth degree. Like, some of you listening support Hillary Clinton. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about a person who, if Hillary Clinton rolled up on Fifth Avenue alongside Donald Trump and shot somebody, Peter Daou would find a way to still, support her and demand that you support her as well. That's Peter Daou. Peter Daou is a propagandist who worked side by side with David Brock. David Brock, if you go check out videos of mine on David Brock has been an operative on the left and as well as the right. He's worked with Republicans to try to destroy Anita Hill, and he's worked with the Clintons to try to destroy the Kenneth Starr investigation back in the 90s. He is a very deceitful man. He put out a statement saying that Bernie Sanders does not like black people or does not think Black Lives Matter because he did not have the right number of black people in his Iowa primary ad back in 2015. This is the type of person that David Brock is, and his sidekick, his do boy, run and get the coffee, bitch boy, basically, is Peter Daou. And I use that language unreluctantly. I'm very direct about who Peter Daou is, particularly because of how detrimental he is in this season. I want us to move on past the Hillary versus Bernie Sanders wars, but we can't when you have people like Peter Daou on one side of the equation and people like H.A. Goodman, who can't really be compared because of the scale and the scope and the reach of Peter Daou. But in terms of intention, in terms of their purpose is to exploit the division between the Bernie Sanders branch of the Democratic Party, or anyone who's anti-Hillary Clinton, and the Hillary Clinton side of the Democratic Party, and anyone who's anti-Bernie Sanders. They are there. Both Peter Daou and people like H.A. Goodman, they are there to not only exacerbate the divide, but they're also there to profit off of it. And this is what is most important to me to drive home, is that Peter Daou, while he is out there tweeting this afternoon, I did a screenshot and subtweeted Peter Daou, where he's attacking Chapo Trap House, a very popular podcast. If you don't know, I don't know why you wouldn't know, because they're like the biggest in the freaking world. But he's attacking Chapo, and then he's attacking TYT. saying that TYT and Chapo make money off of creating anti-Hillary Clinton narrative and echo chambers, narratives, plural, and echo chambers. And they make a living off of it. That's the greatest example of projection I've ever seen in my goddamn life. Because that's exactly what Peter Daou is doing. He is exacerbating and exploiting the divisions, and he's between Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders wings of the party, respectively, and he's doing it for profit. And it is time for someone. No. Hang on. Let me rephrase that. You would think that someone would pull him to the side and say, for the good of the country and for the good of the party, let's move forward. But instead of that, Hillary Clinton endorses his website, which is expressly anti-Bernie Sanders. But I guess that makes sense, folks, because Hillary Clinton's book, all anyone is talking about in Hillary Clinton's book today is the fact that she blames Bernie Sanders for the anti-Hillary or the crooked Hillary narrative. So, I don't want to spend a lot of time attacking Hillary Clinton for the exact reason that I'm calling out these guys for making money off of, creating the divide. Or exacerbating the divide. But the fact of the matter is Hillary Clinton is throwing gasoline on this. Folks, I don't care who you voted for. The fact of the matter is that we have a president of the United States who is targeting the most marginalized groups in America. And whether or not you like the Democratic Party, whether or not you like Hillary Clinton, that's neither here nor there right now. What's here, what needs to be focused on is fighting back against a president who is creating a deluge of assaults, of constitutional assaults against the most marginalized, the transgender community, the immigrant community. I mean, he's targeting the most vulnerable groups, and yet we have people just getting clicks to say the same shit they've been saying since the primaries of 2015 for 2 damn years. Can we move on? And the answer is probably not. You know why? 2 reasons. One, because Hillary Clinton is going to run for president again, and I don't think that she should, but she is. And 2, people can still make money off of it. People like Peter Daou. He could still generate clicks, get a website, get a little notoriety, make some money, got a little job for he and his wife. They don't have to, worry about the fact that they didn't get positions in the Hillary cabinet, or not cabinet, but Hillary administration, probably some lower tier, assistant to an assistant carrying coffee or some shit like that. But they didn't even get that. So now they get some money off of the site. And yes, I intend to drag him. Because you know why? Because he is hurting. Peter Daou is actively hurting marginalized communities right now today by making I don't want to use the word exacerbating again, but by just promoting this narrative in the midst of Donald Trump's onslaught against children of immigrants who came here as minors. I mean, that's literally 2 things that are going on today, and it would not be this amplified if not for Hillary Clinton. And I'm trying my best not to give it to Hillary Clinton, but she's the one who brought this to the entire national stage. So now you have this former Secretary of State of the United States contributing to this chaos and this division. Meanwhile, the President of the United States is trying to deport 800,000 children of immigrants, of undocumented immigrants. And the only reason I'm hesitant, and I want to be clear about the reason I'm hesitant about going after Hillary Clinton right now, is because I want this to end. I'm tired of it, personally. Like, I don't even engage in it. I have no choice but to talk about it now. But I don't even want to engage in it because it's futile. It has no results. It yields no fruit. There's nothing beneficial that can come from it. We're not talking about policy differences anymore. We're not talking about the differences between the $12 per hour or $15 an hour or $12 per hour starting now and then increasing we're not even talking about that anymore. We're reliving the same petty arguments that we focused on during the primaries of 2015. And this is 2017. 2 entire years later. And you cannot tell me people are doing this out of the sincerity of their heart on both sides, folks. I'm sorry. Hey, progressives, I'm sorry. I don't want to know. I don't care. I know everything about Hillary's past, everything about Hillary's, you cannot send me an article that I have not already read about Hillary Clinton. I don't care. You know why? Because she's not in the White House. And you know why? Because she's too old to run again, even though she's probably will. And I know her party I know her influence is still there, but you cannot, or what are you telling me? You're not going to move forward? I'm punching left for a second. Progressives, I'm going to chin check us, and then I'm going to knock the snot out of the neoliberals. So bear with me for a second. But you cannot tell me that you're going to focus on Hillary Clinton until she no longer has influence, or until her wing of the party is non-existent, because then you create your life to be about something that's never going to go away. And if you're doing that, to me, that means that you have a narrative that you like, and you're not comfortable expanding your narrative to fight other fights. You like this fight, and you like this fight because you know this fight, and you're just going to keep punching to the neoliberal center, trying to purge the Hillary Clinton branch. You're not purging Hillary Clinton's branch out of the Democratic Party. The best that you could hope for is to maybe marginalize people like Peter Daou and then convince other people that you're right. But if you're not, but this is why I don't want to relitigate the primaries, because relitigating the primaries does not change anyone's mind. Relitigating the primaries, I'm going to say it again. Relitigating the primaries will not change anyone's minds. Arguing Hillary versus Bernie will not change anyone's minds. And if you're not in this to change people's minds, then what are you in here for? I mean, I don't want to think that you're in here for the same reason, Peter Daou and H.A. Goodman are in this. So progressives, we have to move on just as much as they have to move on. But today is their day that they need to get dragged through the mud, because the former Secretary of State has started this all over again. Like, for the love of God, she needs to get in that. I mean, she didn't sign it with -H, so it wasn't her personally, but it's still her account, and she's still responsible for whatever goes on there. There's 100% her responsibility to get that corrected, because she's endorsing a site that is just further dividing the Democratic Party, or the left of the United States, in the midst of a firestorm of Donald Trump hurting the most marginalized communities. I mean, can we not be self-centered for a goddamn second and worry and take care of other people before trying to place blame somewhere? Or, for Peter Daou, in his case, trying to make money off of the one thing that he was good at. It's like, I mean, he says he's a jazz musician. I'm thinking he must be a shitty musician, because damn it, you got to be better at something than just attacking Bernie Sanders. You got to be good at something in life besides that. But at this point, I think that's all that man is good for, is attacking Bernie Sanders. He must be a crappy ass musician. It is infuriating. It's frustrating, and it is really unfortunate. It's most unfortunate because we need to move forward into new leadership, but we're never going to be able to find. Here's the deal. It's like, people, I'm going to give it both ways. I'm giving it to everybody. It should be given primarily to Hillary Clinton tonight and Peter Daou, and I will. Trust me, I'm going to give it to them. I'm not drawing an equivalence today, because there is no equivalence to be had today. Today is Hillary Clinton and Peter Dow's day. However, I will say, well, okay, maybe not, because I just forgot what the hell I was going to say. Goddamn. So maybe I'm not going to punch left. It'll come back to me. But the fact of the matter is, man, we absolutely must move on. We must move on. We have to, because we don't have anybody, neoliberal center or progressive left, that can beat Donald Trump right now. We can't, because we're too divided. We're too divided. And I'm not saying that there should be unity and kumbaya, and let's not work out the very difficult differences, because there are some significant differences. But we're not even talking about the differences right now. We're just relitigating the primaries. So there are things that we need to hash out, we need to hammer out, we need to argue over. But I don't see policy debates anymore. I see a bunch of petty Twitter feuds by people who are influential enough to bring thousands and upon thousands, tens of thousands of people into the argument. And that moves the dial. So yeah, this is Hillary Clinton's day, though. This is Hillary Clinton's and Peter Daou's day, because Hillary Clinton allowed her platform to be used to promote this propagandistic website that is there for the purposes of making money by exacerbating the divide in the Democratic Party, or the left side of the American political spectrum. And that's where we are, in the backdrop of 800,000 students and children of undocumented immigrants potentially getting deported. That's infuriating. That's infuriating. And I will say this, like, when I don't say unity for the sake of kumbaya. I know I said that, but I want to say this again. I'm not saying unity for the purposes of anything else but amassing political power so that we can forward our agenda. And right now, the progressive movement is not strong enough to move without some factions of some portion of the Democratic Party. We're not. Maybe eventually. It's not coming from the Green Party, because like clockwork, they've disappeared off the goddamn scene, with the exception of a few pithy tweets from Jill Stein, you know. But I don't see them hustling like Democratic Socialists of America. But as much as I love DSA, they're not going to be in a position in 4 years to have a candidate that we can rally behind in a third party to beat Donald Trump. And yes, I'm sorry, we must beat Donald Trump. Is anybody still disillusioned about that? Is anyone still confused about how uniquely nefarious Donald Trump is for this moment in American history? You know, for everyone who said that he was going to be just as bad as Hillary, or Hillary Clinton was going to be just as bad as him. I'm sorry. There's still people who are glad they didn't vote for her. I get that. Yeah, I mean, totally. That's fine. That's your prerogative. But the fact of the matter is, those 800,000 students and children who are getting ready to be deported, you know, that I think they have a different opinion than you do right now. And I'm only saying this because, I'm saying this because, like it or not, we're going to have to work with them. We don't have a party. Should we work on one simultaneously? Yes, absolutely. I get it. For sure. But we don't have one that can stop Donald Trump. Meanwhile, you got the Democratic Party. If anybody should be upset right now, infuriated, it should be Tom Perez, the chair of the DNC. He should be infuriated with Hillary Clinton for creating an even greater division by endorsing this apparatchik by the name of Peter Daou, who's doing nothing. Now, let me help out. Let me minister to some Hillary Clinton supporters, because Peter Daou is doing nothing but exploiting your pain for money. He's exploiting everyone who's still I'm with her. And I get it. You know, maybe you are still with her. Maybe you're still emotionally attached to Hillary Clinton. Hell, people are writing fan fiction about what if Hillary Clinton was president. Like some of these people need mental evaluations. And I'm not saying that to be ableist. I'm saying that because some of the stuff I see is a little concerning. Right? We have to be concerned, you know, we have to look out for our brothers and our sisters, right? Some of it's a little concerning, and maybe this is how your therapist said that you could work it out, is to write fan fiction about what life would be like if Hillary Clinton was president. All that pain and all that emotional distress that you're going through, Peter Daou is capitalizing on it and literally making money off of it. That's what Peter Daou is doing. That's what type of slime ball he is. And he's doing it under the guise of you know, creating a voice and a platform for the 65.8 million people who, no. He's creating a platform for him to make money. Period. End of conversation. Is there anything else to be said about that? And he's willing to use your pain, to my listeners that are Hillary Clinton supporters, which are few, but still, I know you're there. He's willing to use your pain in order to make this money. And then using that pain to pimp you out. And I chose that language very specifically. I choose that language because this is what he's doing. He's mobilizing you with your anger, with your emotional distress, and he's sending you out to fight Bernie Sanders and his crowd. And he's doing it, and he's sitting back collecting the money. That's a pimp. Peter Daou is pimping out the emotion and the emotional distress of Hillary Clinton supporters who are still with her. And that should make you upset. If it doesn't make anybody else upset, it should make you upset, because it has to, you're going to have to move on past Hillary Clinton. You're going to have to. Maybe she's going to run again. I certainly hope not, for many reasons. One of the reasons is because of this divide. Like, we need a thorough cleansing. We need an enema of the 2015 election. We need to clean all that shit out and start over. Because it's toxic. It is extremely toxic and profitable, and that's the only reason we're still here, is because of people like Joy-Ann Reid, Peter Dow, and Neera Tanden, and they all make money off of this. And not only do they make money, it's not even just about money directly for some of those. So for some people, it's power and the promise of power and the possibility of gaining power and the reluctance to relinquish power. Or the reluctance to realize that their power is now gone because Hillary Clinton is relatively off the scene. And so they're hanging on by a thread, trying to maintain power. Some of them trying to make money, but they're using your emotional attachment to I'm with her and Hillary Clinton in order to do so. You're merely the vessel through which they can obtain their next level, their next promotion. And that should piss you off, because you are a human being who, while you may be distraught about Hillary losing, you can clearly see, at least I hope, you can clearly see that we have to fight what's happening right now. And part of me is pausing to think, well, maybe it's not as big as you think, Ben. Maybe you're focusing on Twitter and it's just isolated to Twitter, because I'm thinking about all the people who I do my show for during the day, or I do video clips for during the day. You know, millions of people who, whenever we go live during the day, you know, they never say anything about this war between Hillary and Bernie. And I'm thinking maybe it's not as big as I think it is, and maybe I'm just focusing on it because Twitter is kind of consumed me. But then I pause and realize the Secretary of State, the former Secretary of State of the goddamn United States of America, endorsed this website. So if we're acting like it's big, it's because it is big. It is a problem. And whereas we were on our way, little by little, inch by inch, crawling to a place of at least an armistice, of at least, you know, a cessation of hostilities long enough for us to fight against Donald Trump, where we were headed in that direction, Hillary Clinton waded in and threw gasoline on the fire. And we don't need no water, let that motherfucker burn. Sorry, folks. People, old school people know what that means. But this is a problem. And we're never going to move forward. And by never being able to move forward, we're never going to be able to vet the next set of every candidate that comes from now on is going to be, this is the destruction of the Democratic Party. And the destruction of the Democratic Party is the destruction of America, because you're going to continue to turn America over to Nazis and white supremacists and people who are able to galvanize hatred so much so they don't even need a majority. They can always get a plurality. They can always get a plurality of the Republican Party. And so long as the Democratic Party is divided, they can win the White House. Changing forever the face of for our lifetime, changing the face of the judiciary, changing the face of how our districts are drawn, and you're gerrymandering the districts such that they can control power in perpetuity. You know, meanwhile, we're over here relitigating the primaries for two people who probably are going to be too old to run for president in 2020. I mean, God damn, can somebody please help us move past this? But the reason I see we're not going to be able to move past this is because every single candidate going forward, unless there's like a messiah, which we don't even want anymore because of what we didn't get in Obama, but unless there's somebody just so dynamic who comes along, we're going to forever be putting them in one category or the other. Are they the Hillary camp? Are they the Bernie camp? Are they a true progressive? Are they a neoliberal? Meanwhile, America's being run by Nazi neoliberals on cocaine. I'm talking about their ideology is on cocaine. It's on steroids. I mean, you're getting the worst of neoliberalism and the worst of racism and white supremacy. Somebody, for the love of God, can we move on past this stage so that we can at least stop the hemorrhaging? I can't even say the word right. I'm tired. So we can at least slow down the I mean, thank goodness Donald Trump is incompetent. Because if he wasn't incompetent, we'd be in an even worse condition than we already are. Meanwhile, we're destroying each other still. And we can't even come together. And again, this is not about, I don't want kumbaya. I want us to hash out our differences. I want us to hammer out the differences. I want the Democratic Party. I want us to have this fight. The fight that's worthwhile is a fight to push the party to the left. The fight that's going to go for a single payer Medicare for all. The fight that's going to go for $15 an hour, a livable wage. A fight that's going to drop, at least at a minimum, drop universal basic income into the political discourse for us to argue over for the next 10 years or 5 years or whatever until we finally get it. I want those fights, but you know what I don't want? I don't want to regurgitate the same petty divisions that yield nothing. There's no step forward. It's just, it is an echo chamber. It is basically everybody has their own amen corner. Everybody, and this is where progressives can get it too, right? Progressives, you have your own amen corner where you just want to hear each other say, regurgitate the same talking points. I mean, I hate to reduce it to that, but they become talking points now. On the progressive left. And then at the same time, you get the same exact crap coming from Hillary Clinton. And ain't nobody, Hillary Clinton's faction. And there's nobody is innocent in this. Everybody's like, oh, I've been victimized on Twitter and social media and people have been so mean to me. And I'm like, no, you've been an evil, cantankerous motherfucker yourself. You've been hurting people. You've been dogpiling on people on social media. Everybody has. The progressives do it. The neoliberals do it. Hillary Clinton's bunch are some of the most cantankerous people I've seen in my whole goddamn life. And meanwhile, everybody is being this vile, belligerent group on social media, but at the same time, they're feigning as though they're the victims. And of course, I'm siding with progressives because I believe ideologically we're correct and neoliberals are wrong. But at this point, does it even matter? Does it even matter when you have a neoliberal on steroids in the White House getting ready to shove his neoliberal, man, I was about to get really graphic, but he's getting ready with his tax reform. He's getting ready to just bend America over and just neoliberal us to death. Mixed with a healthy dose of white supremacy. I mean, so does it even matter? Please. Well, we don't want to turn power over to the Hillary Clinton wing of the Democratic Party because then they're going to bring neoliberalism. But we got neoliberalism in the White House right now. Even worse. I think my wife is coming in and tell me I'm too loud. I don't know. But I'm saying, listen, does it matter? Because it's not going to get worse. It's not going to get worse with Democrats right now. Because Donald Trump is making sure we're fully aware that things are going to, if there is a the worst, it's going to be Donald Trump. He's making sure that we're fully aware of that. Meanwhile, we're over here arguing about things that matter, but in the grand scheme of things, we're getting shellacked with right now. And yes, that was directed towards progressives. Meanwhile, you got Hillary Clinton, who should stay in the woods, should never have come out of the woods, exacerbating this to the 100th degree, magnitudes of order worse than what it was last week. Now we're in full-blown primaries all over again. In the backdrop of 800,000 people not knowing if they're going to be here next week for that matter. Can somebody... I don't think there's any hope. Honestly, at this point, I do not know that there's any hope for left politics in America. I didn't say leftist, but the left spectrum. the I don't care if it's center left or center and just 1 degree left of the center. I don't care. I don't think there's any hope for any opposition to Donald Trump. You know why? Because we are happy relitigating. That's the thing, man. We are happy relitigating the primaries. Meanwhile, everything that we complained about in the primary, you didn't like, you thought Bernie Sanders was racist, which was wrong, which was just dead ass wrong, and one of the most ignorant things I've ever heard in terms of like Bernie Sanders he has no solutions, whatever. I don't even come up with them again. I blocked them out. Right? But let's simplify. You thought Bernie Sanders was racist? Yeah. Okay. Well, congratulations. You got one of the most racist people in American history. Modern American. I mean, well, I can't even say that because, goddamn it, I mean, there's been a lot of racist motherfuckers in the White House. I have to start that whole rant over. Let me rewind. You thought Bernie Sanders was racist? Well, congratulations. You got the white supremacist in chief in the White House. You thought Hillary Clinton was a neoliberal? Well, congratulations. You got a neoliberal squared in the White House. Not times 2, squared. To the cubed. So all the things that we thought we hated about the other person, we got an even worse version in the White House. What the hell am I saying? I don't know what I'm saying at this point because I can't say for us to move forward because the former Secretary of State has just thrown fire on the fuel on the fire. I can't say, I mean, it would be irresponsible for me to say move forward because now we actually do have to fight this. And I don't even feel like it. I'll be honest with you. I don't feel like it. If we're not talking about policies, I don't want to talk about it anymore. I don't want to talk about people's personalities. I don't want to talk about their idiosyncrasies. I don't want to talk about, the only time I will talk about it is when I have to. And in the context of this, what you are saying is so wrong. And I see through your bull and I see that you're saying it wrong intentionally for the purposes of hurting the very people that you're trying to represent, Joy-Ann Reid. Stuff like that. I'll argue that. But what I'm not going to do is just relitigate these primaries. I refuse to. I don't care how bad Hillary Clinton was going to be. I think we can all say with DACA and a litany of other things that she was not going to be as bad as as Donald Trump. And I don't care. I don't care if you think Bernie Sanders did not. And I'll say, listen. I mean, I've talked to people on the inside of Bernie Sanders' campaign that would tell you that there were problems with, you know what? There's problems with him not understanding how to even communicate race succinctly enough to beat Hillary Clinton. And then I said that myself back in the primary. So yes, he had some problems, but you know what? You think he had some problems? Congratulations, you got the white supremacist in chief in the White House. So congratulations, right? Everybody got what they didn't want to the 100th degree. So anybody who's still back here talking about, man, yeah, I'm glad I didn't vote for Hillary Clinton. Oh, okay, cool. Good. Ask a dreamer if they're glad about that. I don't care because okay, fine. Then you're selfishly centered on your own personal vindication, which means you're not in this for other people. And I'm sorry, I got into this for other people. And to make a career out of it and, try to have a show and create a media network and all that kind of stuff. But at the core of it, I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't say that, right? You know that shit. I mean, everybody knows that. But at the core of it is like, I'm not going to use my platform to ignore other people's fight and to hurt other people's fight. So yes, it does matter to me. It does matter to me that how many people are being hurt right now because Donald Trump is in the White House versus Hillary Clinton. But also, it hurts me to see how many people are being hurt because Donald Trump is in the White House and not Bernie Sanders. And it infuriates me to see people making money off of further dividing us when, if nothing else, can we not just have a temporary cessation of hostilities in order to push back against Donald Trump trying to rescind DACA. All right, folks, that's all I got for you tonight. I'll be back tomorrow. I am hustling. I'm in double time trying to correct the errors that I have here on my audio and video so that we could have a fully produced show for you this week. That's my goal, to have a fully produced show for you this week and take live callers. But I wanted to get this out to you because, of course, as you can see, and I know, hey, you might disagree with me. I'm sure some people are to cut it off, but if you disagree with me and you made it this far, then please DM me, hit me on Twitter. No, I'm sorry. Don't hit me on Twitter. DM me on Twitter or hit me in my messages on Facebook, which is even a better place. Hit me in my messages on Facebook and tell me why you disagree with me. Because if you disagree with me and you listen to me this long, you definitely deserve to have a conversation with me a little bit further, and I'll be glad to discuss it. And maybe if you have a good enough point, I'll mention it on air. But it's going to take a lot of convincing to make me feel like I'm wrong about this. I think we have to move on, or else we are sealing the deal. This is the last thing I'll say about it is, if this looked as though it would die down before 2020, I might could leave it alone. But with what Hillary Clinton did yesterday, this is not going to die down before 2020 until there's an adult in the goddamn room who comes and says, hey, folks, let's fight Donald Trump. Why? Because he's literally trying to prove to us that he's going to be the worst neoliberal and the worst white supremacist in the history of the United States. That's his goal. And here we are reliving the primaries on the Democratic Party side. Holla at you next time.